So now this is the slide I jumped to, and then I realized I hadn't finished explaining. I love this image. It's just so cute, huh? And it was fun to find this image for me to create this slide. You know, being a human being is like being in a sandwich. The bottom part of the sandwich is the planetary program. It's a very deep program within us. It was imprinted into us at the moment of our birth. The planetary program moves us as an individual. And the transits of the hour, the day, the month, the year indirectly impact us. We can be pawns of the transit program if we're not aligned within ourselves. Otherwise, it's just the weather and we're just moving along in our life with whatever the weather is. The top part of the sandwich is the global consciousness program. This is the greater program that is above us, and it's huge. This global consciousness program does not move the individual. That's the planetary program. This bigger program moves all of humanity. All of humanity, not the individual, humanity as a whole. Remember, the global consciousness program is about the evolution of humanity. This is a very slow-moving program that takes over 400 years to complete one cycle. And there we are in the middle of the sandwich. And this is our life on planet Earth, huh? When I say it takes 400 years to complete one cycle, we'll look at it a little bit later, but you'll see that the gate that begins the cycle is there for 400 and more years. And we just talked about how quickly gates can shift in the planetary cycle. So this is a huge imprint on all of humanity. Okay, so now the next slide. Now we move to the global consciousness program. We've looked at the planetary program. Now let's look at the global consciousness program. We saw how the transits feed information to individuals through the neutrino stream of our solar system. That was the planetary program. This larger field of consciousness is not impacted directly by the sun and the planets. It's impacted by the whole stellar background field. We are part of a universe with billions and trillions of moving stars that produce neutrinos. These neutrinos are what feed information for a much bigger outer program, and this is the global consciousness program. Think about the neutrinos that are moving through us, through all the crystals of consciousness on the planet. They are all going back out into space in every direction at near the speed of light. About 186,000 miles a second. One of the things that the voice told Ra way back, I believe it was 1985, I don't remember the exact date, was that neutrinos had weight. Neutrinos had weight. And it took many years for this to be proven by science. I remember when it first was proven. I remember sitting in the office of Human Design America where I was the director and getting so excited and Ra and I emailing back and forth about this. There's weight because the neutrinos are carrying information. I mean, the weight is like so minute, but they do have weight, and these neutrinos carry information. Life is much, much bigger than our solar system. You know, I remember sitting in a planetarium in New York City. It was, you know, the first year of my experiment. And the lights were turned off and my head was resting on the back of my chair. And I was looking at the ceiling where the Earth was projected. Only the Earth. I mean, a huge, huge photo of the Earth, image of the Earth, not a photo. And then the image moved backwards and I could see our solar system, the sun, the Earth, the planets. Then it moved back again and I could see our galaxy. And each time it zoomed out, the Earth became smaller and smaller. You know, this projection on the ceiling kept taking me further and further and further out into the universe, into other galaxies. I could barely see our solar system anymore. The Earth was invisible. And I remember, I was alone there. I remember taking all that in and laughing. I mean, every time we went further out, I just was laughing. I mean, very quietly to myself, but that was what I felt inside. And the laughter was me wondering how I could ever believe I had a choice, and how I could ever believe that I was actually in charge of anything. I mean, man, going way out there, and here I am like a speck of sand on planet Earth, and I think I can change things. I mean, it really was ludicrous in a way, huh? And how often, too, I'd sit in class with Ron, he would talk about humans and our vanity, that we think we are in charge of anything, that we can control anything, that we have a choice in how life unfolds. But, you know, before human design, I was so caught up in my own life, and I really thought I could do something to change it. I really did. I believed it to be true. So when I was given my strategy and authority, I started experimenting, deeply experimenting. And through this experimenting and through all these years, I realized I wasn't in charge. There was a bigger program at work, the planetary program, the transits of our solar system. And what I came to understand when I learned global cycles from Ra was that there was even a bigger program at work. You know, I've heard that one human life is equal to half a breath in time for Earth. A half a breath. My life is equal to a half a breath of the Earth's. And that blew my mind. All my ideas of time went right out the window for me. I remember back then Ross saying that it would take human design 400 years to actually impact humanity. And in my naivety back then, I thought, oh no, it will happen much sooner. But I saw that if my life is equal to the Earth taking half a breath, 400 years is nothing. It's perhaps 2 or 3 complete breaths for the Earth. I mean, when you see it from this perspective, it's like zooming out, huh? And my mind is always like thinking it can do something. It doesn't think that too much anymore because it has lost so much over the years. It doesn't even try, but it's still there. It never goes away. It doesn't try that often anymore. But even when it does, it's kind of cute. I just don't believe it, and it's very funny. So when we look at global cycles, it's going to help to put everything in perspective. You know, the understanding of this huge program that moves so slowly, 400 years and more, to just go through one gate. I mean, there's, 8 gates that are locks and 8 gates that are keys, but it takes 400 years for those keys to change to another gate. That's slow. And you can see why this shift that's happening. I mean, this is huge, huh? Huge for our planet, huge for humanity, because we're right at the shift point. It's now. It's now. The next slide, it's more than 7 billion people. I put the exact amount from the June of 2019. The information that Ra was given for the Global Consciousness Program began in the year 16,513 BC, and goes until 3674 AD. Are those the dates of the birth and death of the earth? I don't know. I just know this is the information he was given. The Global Consciousness Program impacts the consciousness field of humanity, and it doesn't impact individuals. And right now, humanity is over 7 billion humans living on Earth. And what we're all experiencing right now, this coronavirus pandemic, is impacting humanity. It's not just individuals living in this country or individuals living, it's impacting humanity. For me, this is huge. This is really a shift, huge shift. Yes, each individual is being affected, but the impact is on humanity. And it's actually part of our evolution as a species. This is part of it. Whatever happens now and whatever comes after is all part of the outer program at work. It's not bad. It's not something to be afraid of. It's not something that we could have prevented or stopped, or the leaders and the governments didn't do enough, and they didn't share enough information soon enough, and on and on and on and on. This is evolution.